Start.
Jason Terry, good defense. Wade from behind takes it away. Chalmers, pull, James! Whoa!
What's going on? What's going on? The perfect 1-2 pick and roll is back. Welcome back to another episode of the Run the Break podcast. I am the wise brother Dre, aka Big Baby, aka A.R. Jones, and a bunch of different circles. Yeah. And to my right, we have the head coach, the final boss himself.
Yes, sir.
No longer the people's champ.
No. We graduated from that.
My guy Randy, what's going on, brother?
Oh man, it's been good. It's been a while since we last chopped it up. Obviously, we chopped it up before the All-Star break, and they took none of our advice because the All-Star break was ass.
Clearly.
But basketball as a whole has been picking up over the last couple of weeks. So, it's been pretty good, man. St. John's is they back now, amongst other stuff. So it's a good time in basketball, man.
Yeah, St. John's. The New York basketball is New Yorking right now.
It's at a fever pitch right now.
It is. Shout out to all the New York teams, but you did mention St. John's, right?
Yes,
and we're definitely gonna jump right in because and we'll get to post All-Star stuff later. St. John's, one of the best teams in the entire nation, and Tay mentioned this on your earlier today that 15 years ago, St. John's being one of the best teams in college would have been front page news.
It was.
And it's not. And it's not. It's a lot of Cooper Flagg stuff for sure. Who is giving me Christian Laettner vibes, not in terms of the actual like play style, but the whole popularity and the whole Great White Hope concept that they're throwing. Again, I have nothing against Cooper Flagg. I really like Cooper Flagg. I'm just saying that's what the media is pushing versus the St. John's team, who is killing everybody in sight and playing like the 90s Knicks right now.
Shout out to the Big East champion, St. John's Red Storm. We gotta put some respect on their name.
The Big East champion, St. John's Red Storm. How do you feel about this run? And this feels like it was totally unexpected, honestly.
You got to give credit to Rick Pitino, man. All credits and respect goes to Coach Pitino. Obviously, when he took over as a head coach, there's an expectation with Rick Pitino in college sports. Everywhere he's been as a college coach, he's had success, whether it's Providence, whether it's Boston College, whether it's Louisville, and Iona. He was there briefly, and he took that program to where it was at. For a brief moment in time. St. John's hasn't been a prominent Big East team that can be a tournament threat in quite some time. So it's probably Felipe Lopez in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. It's been a long time, and for me, I have two brothers who are St. John's alum, and a couple of good friends of mine who also part of that St. John's family.
Tay too.
Shout out to Tay. Damn, St. John's is just that.
Tay too. Janelle too.
Janelle went to St. John's too.
Mm-hmm.
God, bro, damn. I got two brothers that went. And it's a great time, man. For those who were during that time, especially in the 90s with Ron and Felipe and the other players that made that program, so well. To the 80s with Bill Wennington, Mark Jackson and of course Chris Mullin of those days. St. John's has a rich history in basketball, and I think much like the Knicks for quite some time, they were basically the laughingstock of college basketball. They went through many trials and tribulations, including some of the scandals that happened that are well known. And they had to clean up that program, and they found somebody in Pitino to clean up that program, and he's done it in record time. Chris Mullin did what he could, but just couldn't quite recruit at the time. And I just think that college basketball is in a much different place now where you can get a coach that can recruit, bring players in, get them to buy in and get the best out of them and to make professional basketball players out of them. And I think no better person was equipped for that job than a guy who's been through the ringer than Rick Pitino. And he's done a great job with that team. They've won the Big East. I think they're number 6 right now, ranked in the country. We'll see where they're ranked in terms of when they on the selection day for the tournament.
Man,
but they are. This resurgence has been good, not just for St. John's, but for the game of basketball, because St. John's is an historic, college basketball team that has had success in the past, and now that they're kind of back this year and making a name for themselves, you just hope that it's just not just 1 year that they're back. When St. John's, teams like St. John's and Georgetown, people like Big East teams that were popular at some point in time, when they're popping, it just makes college basketball so much more fun to watch. Like, people, obviously the ACC has been one of the, one of the main conferences that get a lot of the attention in college basketball, or the Pac-10, or the Big 12 or the Big 10, whatever it is now. Mm-hmm. Those conferences usually get more attention because the Big East for a while outside of Villanova haven't been shining like that. So now that you have a team like St. John's kind of like coming back out and showing themselves again, it's been good. Yeah, I'm happy to see.
I agree. And with the Big East tournament kind of getting ready to get started next week, they have a bye to the quarterfinals.
Let's go.
Along with Marquette and Xavier, and Creighton and UConn. So the first round is going to be Butler versus Providence, the 9-8, DePaul versus Georgetown, the 10-7, and Seton Hall and Villanova, the 11-6. St. John's will play the winner of Butler and Providence. Marquette and Xavier will face each other with their byes. Creighton will face the winner of DePaul and Georgetown, and UConn will face the winner of Seton Hall and Villanova. Obviously, the Big East tournament is a very big deal. It's been a big deal for a very long time. Do you see St. John's?
Didn't they win it already? I remember seeing the game.
No, it says March 10th. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not looking at the wrong one. No, it didn't start. I'm tripping. No, they didn't start. Yeah, you have me tripping. I'm looking right at this shit right here.
No. You're right.
This is a 2025 Big East tournament. I'm like,
no.
I'm not that tired, bro.
You're right. It's been a long week, guys. I'm sorry. No.
I understand.
No. You're right. Oh, damn. Ooh.
Yep.
That's gonna be a tough one.
Now that it's set in, right? Matter of fact, instead of St. John's, wondering if St. John's is going to win it, who would St. John's rather face in this quarterfinal, Butler or Providence?
Probably Providence, for Rick Pitino purposes. Like,
yeah.
Rick definitely want to get. Rick probably want to get that game just because off the strength of the history that he has with Providence.
Yeah, he might go over there and help Butler. He might go over there and help Providence win it, just so he can come smoke them.
So it's just like, I think big, storyline purposes, because everything is storyline based nowadays.
Everything in life is a script, bro.
Yeah. Everybody copied on professional wrestling.
Absolutely. You got to follow the script. You got to, let it.
I'd rather face Providence, but I know somehow, some way, like. I know somehow I'm either gonna run into Villanova or them damn Wildcats from Villanova. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see what happens. For me, personally, doesn't matter because I would like to see St. John's, like the way they've been winning as of late. Mm-hmm. They've been dogging. So
they just beat Marquette on the buzzer beater though. That was a game.
And that was a dogged game. So it's like Pitino has those boys balling. So he has those guys believing. And I think this tournament will definitely dictate how they will play in the Natty. So I can't wait to see how that goes down.
No, I agree with you. I can't say nothing more than that. I feel like St. John's can take it, but
UConn and Villanova, they're the dogs.
That's what I'm looking right at. UConn and Villanova. But the good thing about that is that the dogs potentially will face each other in the quarterfinals, and St. John's would only have to worry about them in the final. So,
if that's the case, then they're facing UConn.
Right.
As much as I love Georgetown, because Georgetown was one of my teams growing up, but yeah, Georgetown, you out.
Georgetown up out of there.
Marquette, they have a chance, but they're out. It's just the big dogs I'm thinking about right now. It's like Villanova. I know Providence is gonna move on. I think Providence has enough with their team, and it's just gonna be them and St. John's, and then the winner between them that game, which is St. John's. I'm biasly speaking.
Yes, biasly speaking.
And it's between Villanova and UConn. If it had to come to that, UConn at this point, the last few years, they've got back their title as one of the best teams, not just in the Big East, but college basketball entirely.
Yeah.
It took them a while. They had that drought. Remember, their mid-2000s, they were winning every goddamn year. Calhoun. Like there were certain teams that I hated. I hated Duke because of Mike Krzyzewski because they won all the time.
Every damn time I heard about fucking UConn, I was like, well, they won again. I'm like
Charlie Villanueva, Ben Gordon, Emeka Okafor, Rudy Gay. There was a lot of those guys. And then when Kemba,
crazy ass team.
And then Kemba had that run. I think we're going to talk about the March Madness, but when Kemba had that run in 2011, and just like they were not supposed to make the tournament. But the run they had in the Big East, and then winning the Big East tournament, and then going all the way to win, that probably was an all-time moment. I know we're going to talk about it more in a future episode in terms of March Madness because we're in the month of March right now.
Yeah,
but UConn's going to go to the finals because they found their mojo again. It's like they're like the Lakers, like in college ball, or the Celtics even because they're the East. So they always find a way to win, and they have that attaché to continue to win. Whether it's Coach Calhoun coaching, whether it's Kevin Ollie who was coaching for quite some time, and even their new coach right now, who's currently at the helm. They always seem to find a way to be one of the best teams every single year, and that's as close to a professional basketball team as you can get in terms of constructurally how they operate. And if you want to be well prepared to go to the next level, especially from a collegiate level going into the pros, look no further than UConn to definitely teach you that.
I agree. Now we've been talking about one side, but now let's talk about Cooper Flagg.
The ACC.
Right. ACC. But in particular, Cooper Flagg. As I said, he's giving off vibes, not him in particular, but the way the media is covering him, he's getting coverage the same as Christian Laettner. Now, the coverage nowadays is whether he's going to stay one more year. Reason being is that this particular NBA draft will have probably not the best team to get the number one pick. Now, that's usually how the NBA draft goes, right? Unless, you do some dark magic and, figure out, San Antonio stuff.
LOL, the Spurs get the number one pick again.
Again. Get a generational big man again.
Like you got a generational wing, you got a generational big in 2 back-to-back drafts. Right. What more do you want? And you got De'Aaron Fox. Like, I hate y'all. Y'all can't keep winning.
Right. Y'all can't keep winning on a low. Like, the Spurs is probably one of the most successful franchises that nobody speaks about in basketball. We'll definitely get into that.
We will. You know, we will. We'll definitely get to that.
Will. But
look at the Bucks showing some fight.
Listen, them Doc Rivers led teams sometimes play good, sometimes they play bad. But Doc Rivers led team.
Hey, they got Giannis. I ain't worried about Glenn Rivers at this point.
Glenn, yeah, you got to call him by his real name. That's crazy. Cooper Flagg, should he stay another year?
I don't mind if he does. Like, I think, and here's the thing: like, even if like he were to go to the draft and there was a team that he would like to go to, him even entertaining the idea of staying another year, he doesn't have an incentive necessarily to like go to the NBA right now if he doesn't want to, because the NIL deals that these guys get nowadays. That's primarily the reason why most players wanted to go pro, was because of money. Cooper's already getting the bread. It's like, yo, why do I got I can go make this bread without even touching an NBA floor. And then when I'm ready, when my game is completely mature, then I'll go. I think if he does do that, should he do that? I think it will help set a precedent. Like, yo, he's a number one overall pick, and he wants to stay another year. Why? Like, it's like, no, think about it. Like, the NIL deal has provided enough opportunity for top end players who are at these institutions to basically curb the idea of going pro early. So now that Cooper's there, he has the endorsements, he's ready with Duke. He loves the idea, and he's still a kid too. People forget that. Maybe he just wants to be a kid and still be around his peers. Not the fact that he's not talented enough to go to the NBA, because he can hold his own. He did it against Team USA last season in the summertime. It's not about that. It's more so about, like, he knows that he can go to the league, one, at any time, and two, like, whenever that team that he might want to go to, or wherever might draft him, is in that lottery, I'm pretty sure he's going to do that. But at the same time, I also think it's more so for him, like, he doesn't really need to. Like, he's enjoying himself in college right now. If he wants to continue to develop his game, I think that could help send a message to a lot of these young guys who are NBA bound. The fact that maybe, you don't necessarily have to be one and done. Like, you're already getting the money. The only reason why you left to go to the league is for the money, not necessarily for the love of the game. Because if it was for the love of the game, a lot of these one and done guys would have stayed in college longer. And this generation of ball players are not necessarily jumping to the league because of financial situations anymore. Like, a lot of these guys are not coming from the struggle.
No, a lot of them are not coming from the struggle. But in terms of love of the game, I feel like that's a double-edged sword.
It is.
Saying, meaning that people want to go to the league because they love and their dream has been to go to the NBA, versus staying in college because you want to sharpen your skills. So I think it's two sides of it, to love of the game argument on that. But again, that's a topic later on in the show.
Yeah, if not for real, because it's like, if he does, like, think about it as, say for instance he doesn't stay, right, and he goes to the league, he's not going to hurt his stock. If he stays, he's still not going to hurt his stock, because if he stays another year, and let's just say he comes back another year, Duke automatically jumps to the Associated Press's #1 ranked team heading into 2026.
Absolutely, there's nobody else.
Like, their odds are gonna jump like exponentially to become the national champions next year, and then should he leave after that, fine. But if he does stay an extra year, like, I don't think there's any problem with it, because it's like, yo, like, in the league right now, there's one in the NBA. There's a lot of spots that at times, like, because of the way the NBA is, it's too much gluttony in the NBA. There's so little spots right now within the NBA, and this is why they're getting a lot of these veterans out here quickly. Like, they're getting these vets like completely out of here, where it's just like, yo, bro, like, we need to make room for the next crop. So it's twofold. But in the same token, it's like he'll kill, wherever he goes. But I'm sure he wants to go to an optimal situation that's not Washington or Charlotte. So obviously, who
He's
knows?
already in Carolina. He doesn't want to go to the other side of Carolina.
Exactly. Like he's in Durham. He doesn't want to go north to go to Charlotte. So it's I don't know. It's a rough situation. It's a rough decision or a tough decision to make. But if I'm a Duke fan and he stays, I'm gonna be incredibly happy because you already know if he stays and you get a recruiting another person, coming out of high school that's a 5-star talent, it gives your team a much needed boost and it puts Duke where they should, where they're gonna be at number one and possibly a title contender. Sure, I'm gonna hate it as a Carolina fan, but at the same time, it's just like, you kind of want to see college basketball develop these personalities because nowadays they're recycled after a year.
Not just personality. Yes, I want them to kind of like mold these personalities, but I need them to just I need them to continue teaching the game the right way because and I sound like an old man, but it's true. The players come into the league not knowing how to play the game, or they learn the AAU way and come to the NBA and not used to being a fifth option after being a first option all your life. Granted, that's a rough transition, but you know how you get used to that transition? Playing in college with people who are as good as you, if not better than you. And you learn that in college so that when you go to the league, you learn, all right, what makes me stand out more than anyone else that will get me on the court and keep me on the court. I go back to the Patrick Beverly argument. Patrick Beverly and Derrick Rose were out in Chicago high school basketball at the same time. Both of them was killing, right? Derrick Rose became what he did. Patrick Beverly had to jump through hoops and eventually made it to the league. And when you look at it, people will tell you, Patrick Beverly was probably as good as Derrick Rose. That's a Chicago thing. But when you look at Patrick Beverly in the league, he doesn't do the same things that Derrick Rose does. You know why? Because he wasn't looked at like Derrick Rose was. So you know the way he stayed in the league? Defense and IQ, being your floor general. And people think being a floor general means you got to dish out a bunch of assists. No, being a floor general means that you know what everybody's supposed to do on the floor, even your opponents. So Patrick Beverly, his way of staying in the league as long as he has and did was being a floor general, being a defensive menace, right? But you learn these things in college. You learn these things in school. Not everybody's going to come out of college being like, Grant Hills. Everybody's not going to come out being goddamn like a Jason Tatum or a Kyrie Irving. I'm naming these damn dookies, but like I'm not.
They produce all stars, man. I can't.
Yeah, all stars.
They produce.
Not everybody's going
to
come out doing that. So, what you need to do in college while you're there is learn the skill, learn a trait, and be good at that and make yourself useful for an NBA team. Because if you're the fifth man in college, you're damn sure not going to be the first man in the league unless a team sees more in you. Like you'll go to Charlotte and potentially be a first man just because they don't got nobody else. Yeah, learn your skill, develop your craft, and then leave. Because you're not short on money. And if you're smart, you let that money travel with you. That NIL money, you let that money travel with you. You save, you invest, you go in the league and make more money.
Yeah, because here's the benefit of what having the NIL is. If you are one of those stars that you know is going to make that jump in the NBA or professionally, that's in any sport, and that is you can have financial officers, financial advisors. At least the ones that have your interests at heart, do all the necessary things that you need to, invest your money properly. So by the time you come out of college, you're doing it early, And you don't necessarily have to wait until you get to the NBA to have this agent or that agent and help them, basically do whatever you need to do financially to secure the bag in that aspect of it, because you already have a seed already, because you already put the necessary, parameters to do that. For Coop, it's like he can do whatever he wants. If he stays another year, I'm pretty sure, like for college basketball, it would be huge, because now you're already, think about the marketing ideas that you can have around Cooper Flagg with the NIL deal. You already see JuJu in commercials. And you also see the fact that they're bringing back college hoops in terms of video games. So think about that. If he's the face of that, he can get a good chunk of that. It's all about business. College basketball is no longer amateurism. It's almost borderline professionalism at this point. So basically, it's like, because in college, you're basically training to become a professional. While you're in school, it might be amateur, but you're still learning to be a professional on the fly. And if he's taking it from that perspective, there's necessarily no rush for him to come to the NBA, because the NBA ain't going nowhere.
Right, it's zero rush to come to the league.
There's zero rush. The league is going to be there. Like, we couldn't say that 20 years ago, because the struggle and the reason were different for certain players. Today, it's like there's so many spots filled up, and then you're going to expect coming up in this draft where you expect to fill 60 spots in 30 teams, going into next year. Surely, yeah, someone new is going to come in and take someone's spot because they're cheaper and better, and it can help a team immediately outside the lottery. When you get outside that, that first 15. You look at those players, a good bunch of them are more so G League talent than NBA talent. So you're keeping those guys on two-way deals and, in between the league and stuff like that. It's hard to fill those spots. And you wonder why certain teams like Houston, though great, don't have enough veteran leadership on the team. Is because that spot's being occupied by a young bull that is going to be good down the line, but you're not going to play him yet. But instead, you cut the guy that can help your team in terms of experience. Like those things can help, curb a lot of that. So regardless of whatever Cooper decides, if he does stay, again, he'll be fantastic in terms of what college basketball is trying to do in rebranding themselves, because the NCAA was for many years behind the curve in terms of marketing their talent and paying their talent. Now that they are being compensated in some way
properly,
this can help regain some of that, buzz that the NCAA is desperately looking for, and it helps the NBA too. Because Cooper Flagg is going to be an NBA talent. You can see it. If he held his own against KD, LeBron, Steph in USA minicamp, not in actual if he held his own against those guys as they were going to Paris. And they had it tough going against those guys in Paris. If you've seen, Court of Gold on Netflix.
Motivated NBA players after getting dropped off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be fine. Like the same way they looked at Jordan when Jordan dusted Larry Bird and those boys when the pros faced the USA team in '84.
Boy.
There was a reason why they froze out Michael in his first All-Star game, because he dusted everybody. Like Bobby Knight was like, yo, he a little different.
Yeah, belt to ass.
Like it's gonna be no different. Like I'm sure when they run mini camp this summer for the USA Dub for the USA women, JuJu's gonna put belt to ass to everybody.
Belt to. That belt gonna be on fire right now.
Because the thing about it is, JuJu's being trained under the great Lisa Leslie and being mentored by probably arguably one of the GOATs, Mount Rushmore in women's sports, and Cheryl Miller. You have people like that mentoring you, and you're about to come to the league.
Girl, you about to be the GOAT.
You're about to be the GOAT. Like you have
to be the GOAT.
Like they're giving you. She has the answers to the test already. Like she has all the keys, all the answers. It's like
the answers.
She was beaten down on Paige. She was beaten down on the Notre Dame girl. She was beaten down on she doesn't run from anybody.
She don't run from smoke.
So it's like
She is the smoke.
She is a smoke. So when you see her and Cooper Flagg, like they can represent college sports in a way that can definitely help them expand the game, especially from the NCAA's perspective, but also put these people in the NBA on notice. It's like, yo, like this is we here. And the more seasoning that they can get, especially Cooper, if he gets another year, by the time he gets to the NBA, you ain't gotta wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years into his career saying, "Oh, where's this? Where's that?" He had the extra year of teaching.
Oh, it's there.
And because of it, he'll get a chance to know plays. And the problem with a lot of these people that were one and done is the fact that they just went to play basketball, but not learn the game in terms of play style. Because you can already tell by the way the NBA today, and I know like the NBA today, the spacing is great. The way they're speeding, the paces get great because, they're playing with the same kind of pace they did with the 80s. It's almost on par. But the only difference is when it comes to the half-court game and calling actual plays, a lot of these players today do not know a basic play. Whether it's an ATO, whether it's a regular pin-down screen, whether it's a flare, whether it's a floppy, whether it's a 1-4 flat, as Gilbert Arenas like to say on Gil's Arena,
1-4 flat,
1-4 flat, or an inversion play. Like there are certain things that like some of these players coming out of college that either from the AAU system and spend 1 year in college, they don't get a chance to really study the game.
They won't know.
They won't know. Like you won't know a triangle action play into a Princeton set.
They won't know that.
It's just, all right, I'm going to get the ball, shoot a three, or just find some way to get to the hole and get a point. Like strategy in their minds is completely gone. Like you have to spoon feed them the information. It's like you have to give them like the cliff notes to how to run a play.
This is where you're supposed to be here, and then you're going to go here. You're going to take a couple steps and run there. Again, we're not disrespecting players, right?
Nah.
But what I am disrespecting is AAU and this other side stuff.
The structure.
The structure. The structure is terrible. I would be baffled as a NCAA coach, right? In any division where I get a kid out of AAU and some of them play the way they play. Like, but then as a coach, you would be the bad guy, right? Of course, again, we go back to the Bobby Knight thing that we mentioned a couple episodes ago. We need more Bobby Knights, but not in the way Bobby Knight was.
We need more John Thompsons too, though.
We do need more John Thompsons.
We need more John Thompsons.
Scratch that. We need way more John Thompsons than we do Bobby Knights. Absolutely.
For sure.
And Coach K's. We need more Coach K's again too. But we need more of that. And when I say humble players, I don't mean to take away any of their talent. What I mean is you need people to mold the raw talent to get them where they need to go. Because if you don't have people to mold this young talent, it just turns into just everybody play like Dion Waiters, right? Right. And I like Dion Waiters, right? But Dion Waiters is like Dion Waiters is he's the end of the spectrum Jamal Crawford, right?
Yeah.
Right. Not end of the spectrum as in like neuro stuff. I'm talking about in terms of playing wise. There's a line of Jamal Crawford. There's Jamal Crawford at the top.
He's somewhere in that strand, in that spectrum.
Yeah, he's somewhere in that strand, right? You got a little J.R. Smith in there. You should sprinkle a couple of different. You got a little Rudy Gay, and not Rudy Gay, but a little J.R. Smith. You got a couple other players in there.
He got a little Isaiah Ryder in him too.
Yeah, he definitely got.
he's that archetype. That's the archetype.
That's the archetype, right?
Yeah,
but you got a little Ben Gordon on that side too, but
these
most players right, but most players are Dion Waiters, and no offense to Dion Waiters at all, because if he ever listens to it, we're not trying to offend him. What we're saying
he's a champion, man. I respect the
I
respect the champ.
Yeah, I respect the champion. What I'm saying though is Dion Waiters was more like in the J.R. Smith sphere, to where it's like you got to sometimes just let them do what they do.
Yeah,
but sometimes at the detriment of other things, and without the proper molding, sometimes you don't know when to pull back.
Yeah.
So now we mentioned JuJu, right? And the question was,
Kobe. I'm sorry.
That's the answer right there, Kobe. That's all I see when I look at her, because she had the thing about JuJu, right? She has a game face, right? She's very quiet and mild mannered, right? When you see her, slight smile, shy girl, right? From what I've seen in interviews, you put her on the floor, like
belt to ass,
barking, belt to ass.
Anybody can get it. That's how she is.
And everybody
can get it.
She comes from the Kobe Bryant school of whooping that ass, and like this woman had 8 blocks in a game. Like
she'd kill him. Listen, if Maya Moore was Jordan, JuJu was Kobe.
Bro, imagine Maya Moore going like, yo, you know what? I got you, JuJu. Oh my gosh. Like, we would have the greatest basketball player alive if
I listen, with respect to Maya Moore's husband, I still hate you for taking her away from the game. like she was about to get 5 chips and you just took her away. Like, I'll never forgive you, dog.
I'll never forgive you.
Never
forgive you. Ever.
Ever.
Like, ever in life.
She would have
had 6 rings.
She would have
had 6 rings.
Her leaving her when I found out during the pandemic she retired, son, I fell to my knees. That shit hurt so much.
My chest hurt, bro. I was like,
how she retired?
And then I looked. I was like, oh, it was the motherfucker she saved.
I mean, you had to be go save a nigga.
Right, bro. You had to. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Maya Moore. What she did, obviously, when she helped the man get out of jail, was definitely the right thing. And we did an episode on your sports show about it. I forget which episode, but we did an episode about it. And again, shouts to her and doing that. One of the greatest basketball players we have seen, right? And shouts to Diana Taurasi again. A salute to her and her amazing career.
Yes.
One of the greatest basketball players to ever lace up a pair of sneakers.
Maya Moore is a goat, though.
Maya Moore is definitely a goat. It's a goat, because Diana Taurasi is right there. It's kind of like the Jordan Magic, the Jordan Kobe, Jordan Magic Kobe deal right there. Like,
but JuJu's Kobe. Like, the moment she steps on the floor, like, doesn't matter where she's gonna be at, but belt to ass,
belt like she goddamn Xena.
Like it'll be crazy if she goes to like one of them, like if she goes to the Toronto expansion team or like
final first year,
or you know what? I could see her definitely going to the San Francisco team in the Bay. If she's in the Bay and she got to leave California, imagine how that's gonna go down, boy.
What if the Sparks flim flam and then they magically get that big? Because they already OD. The Sparks look wild, bro.
Shit. Oh, Kelsey, ooh, damn.
Oh my gosh.
That
happens.
You got Plum and JuJu together.
Plum, JuJu, what's her name is coming back off injury?
What you call it? Cameron Brink,
and then who else is it? There was
they'd be loaded.
There's someone else there that she's a dog. Derica Hambre is a dog there too. She had the super underrated season nobody really spoke about, which is damn near almost
because everybody was focused on Caitlin.
Everybody, yeah. So the W is in good hands right now for sure.
Terrific
Um,
hands.
Terrific hands. And shout out to the W. We spoke on the Year Sports Show about them potentially striking, and also Angel Reese getting slack for something she didn't say. Basically, what happened was that she overheard that the WNBA players were thinking about striking if they don't get the things that they demanded for. It wasn't just money. Um, the media has turned around and basically said that Angel Reese said that they're sitting if they don't get paid.
Oh my
Media's
god.
The media's trashed it, and this is why you have situations that turn into LeBron and Stephen A. Smith.
It's funny because like I wrote because like earlier today I was after writing certain episodes. There's an
Mhm.
exact episode that I wrote called "New Media" that talks
Oh yeah,
exactly
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah. I cannot wait to talk about the new media for sure.
Like the new media episode is definitely going to be a must watch because it's like there's a lot that needs to be addressed with that.
There's a bunch that needs to be addressed with that. Just but the short version of the LeBron Stephen A. thing, and you can hear about it more in depth on the Year Sports Show, how we spoke about it on there. Stephen A. is one of those people, and I like Stephen A. Smith. I like watching him. He's very entertaining, but he sometimes is two faced in how he covers things, in the way of or a hypocrite. Let's say that he'll
Mm-hmm.
say, "Hey,
He's a media man.
if you got a problem with me, come to my face and say it. I'm not hard to find."
Bron
And
did
when
it.
he was said found, hey, you could have called me this that, and the third. This, that. No, you've always said this, and this is what happened, right? Uh, there's two sides to that story, to the whole Bronny and Bron James Stephen A. thing. One side is LeBron James Jr. is the 55th pick in the draft,
Yep.
right? The other side is, yes, LeBron used his power to get his son drafted. I don't think Bronny would have been drafted. A lot of us don't think Bronny would have been drafted this year.
No.
But
He would still have been in the G League if he didn't get drafted.
yeah, he probably still would have been in G. But my thing is, he's a 55th pick. Stop relating, and it's hard. The part I see, which is hard for media to do now, is to not take anything bad or anything Bronny does and put it on LeBron. The reason why they do that is because LeBron is the reason Bronny is there.
All right. So here's what I have to say about this in a nutshell. LeBron kind of did bring this on himself because a year before Bronny got drafted, he was like, "Yo, Bronny could definitely play than half these guys in the league." So automatically, you put a target on your back, and Bron's my guy. So from jump, you put a target on your son's back. Now, granted, had the cardiac arrest in that summer not happened, who knows how his freshman year at USC would have been? Maybe it would have been a lot better because he would have, he probably would have had a lot more freedom to get the reps into play. So because when you have cardiac arrest from that summer, you're out for four months. You come in the middle of the season, you don't necessarily have enough rep time to basically play enough and play your actual game. Brian didn't have that opportunity, because obviously he had to basically play his way. Bronny had to play his way, to get rhythm, and he's still
Yep.
doing it now. So it's like it took him a while to kind of get that rhythm back. So when he got drafted, you already put a target on your back. You didn't perform well in the summer league because you got exposed a little bit. But granted, he was still playing consistent basketball. So this is his first time playing like basketball consistently without a push stop type of situation.
Right.
Now he's starting to get more comfortable with himself in the G because ever since that first couple games he had in the G, he's been averaging north of 20 points a game, which is great. Similar to when he has spot minutes in the NBA, he had some rough time scoring the ball. But the one thing I knew that could keep him in the league is the fact that he can play defense.
Mm-hmm.
He can shoot the ball when he's not timid, and he can
Right.
command the floor a little bit. I always said that his floor would be, Gary Payton Jr. and his ceiling could be, and you said his ceiling could be a Derek White. or Drew Holiday, which is exactly what the kind of player he could be. No one's saying he's going to be like this, GOAT type of player that's coming out, but he's going to need some seasoning to become an NBA player, which I think in the G League is giving him that opportunity. Now, let's go back to LeBron's earlier comment by saying the fact that he can play better than half these guys in the league. You invite that criticism. Then you use your power to draft him 55th with the overall in the NBA draft. They could have went to somebody else, obviously. But, listen, if I'm a dad and I got pulled and I got it like that, I probably would have put my son on too. Listen, just like the Waynes put, their entire family on, I'm going to put my kids on. Like, this is how generational wealth is built. Hell, Jeannie Buss is a definition of being a nepotism child owning the Lakers.
Yeah, she's a nepo baby, and it is
what it is. It is what it is. Now, Stephen A. pointed that fact out. He was never attacking Bronny as a person, let alone his game. He was attacking the idea because of what LeBron said. Can invite the criticism the moment Bronny does not live up to the expectation that LeBron put on him, which is exactly what happened. And then coupled with the fact that LeBron was already pissed off at Stephen A. Smith and members of the media talking about the face of the league and what Stephen A. said that day, you already know Bron was basically going to be felt some type of way. So he knew, okay, I'm going to see you eventually. You're going to come to LA because you go to LA games. So what better way to do that by, okay, your hometown team's coming in tonight? Bet.
Gotcha, bitch.
Bitch. Like, you can't go nowhere. Now, LeBron had every right to say what he had to say, but he was hypocritical in terms of why he did it. Like, there was far worse people that said worse things about Bronny. The only criticism that Stephen A. said about his son was more so the fact that because you're LeBron and you said what you said, you put that in the universe. All he was doing was basically regurgitating it. Now, I will say, like, Stephen A., definitely did kind of I won't say double back, but he did put his guard down in terms of like, oh man, like, this is not the time or the place. I'm like, listen, there was no better time than the present. You always say, listen, if you want smoke, I'm not hard to find.
You were found.
You were found. So I do feel that his reasoning in terms of what he said on that following day, that Friday, was different because it wasn't about basketball, the discussion. It was basically about a father, defending his son. Now, as much as I get that, Bron has to take some culpability in putting that into the universe because none of that would have happened if LeBron didn't put that tweet saying, yo, Bronny's better than, half the people in the league. That's going to put a target on his back. And then,
you're right.
It's going to put a target on his back. So you can't expect him to go at the person. And he's not the messenger that said that. You got to go at people at Fox. You got to go people, at TNT. You got to go people at, other people at ESPN, CBS Sports. They've said far worse. I get it.
Why he's doing that. The reason why he's doing that.
He's an easy target.
Stephen A. is not just an easy target, but Stephen A. has been one of the most critical people of LeBron because he hasn't been able to have that relationship with LeBron like said people from the same network or other networks.
Yeah,
you're 100% right. 100% right. LeBron put that on himself, right? But then I go back to the Ball brothers situation with LaVar Ball. LaVar Ball put his sons in the best position to succeed. 2 out of his 3 sons are NBA players, right?
All 3 are successful, though.
And all three of them are successful, right? But LaVar Ball also put that battery in the league's back. He didn't put it in Lonzo's back. Lonzo was like, chill, right? He put it in LaMelo's back. LaMelo was like, all right, I got this, right? But he pushed. Yes, he does. But he pushed his sons to stardom in a way. Right, yeah. And not to say they weren't good; they were good already. We just showed them that they were like, "Hey, this is what you're missing out on in the NBA." But with that came criticism, and to be honest, even though LaVar Ball is not an NBA player and never would have been an NBA player, he took the criticism with stride. He sat and he stood on business about his kids. I see LeBron standing on business about Bronny. The only difference is the fact that LaVar Ball was open to criticism of his kids and his kids' play.
Isn't.
LeBron isn't. And that is what's making this whole situation look completely crazy.
Because like you could easily point at Stephen A. Smith and say, well, Stephen A. He's definitely going to be the one to design the third. But like, listen, LeBron's my favorite player ever. One of my favorite players ever. Like like Stephen A. I have him right behind Jordan. But I'm sure if Jordan was in the situation, like he would not have reacted in a way. Let's say like because Peter Vesey was one of Jordan's biggest haters back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Peter Vesey was just a damn hater in general.
Oh yeah, because he hated Patrick Ewing with passion too,
for no ass reason.
for no reason. Like let's just say like it's in real time, and let's just say it's today's culture, and Jordan was playing in today's culture, right? And Peter Vesey was like the hater that you see on TV every day on the first takes and stuff like that.
Mop.
Jordan wouldn't have done that shit, publicly. Jordan would have pulled Peter Vesey on the side, or in the locker room after a game, in front of everybody in the locker room, and air his ass out. That's number one.
Boss.
And number two, boss. Yeah, you're right. Number two, like Michael would never put his children in that position by speaking, even if it were true that his kids could have played better than half the guys in the league. He never would have put that in the universe because Jordan was a person where it's like, yo, like, I know anything that comes after me, if you pick up the game, there's going to be a target on your back. I can't necessarily help you with that. You just got to either rise above it, or if it ain't for you, it ain't for you. Clearly, it didn't work out for Marcus or for Jeffrey. Marcus had a chance, but, it just didn't work out after UCF.
Marcus wanted to do crack.
He wanted to do crack and older women,
and Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. So his priorities is all fucked up.
The fact that he engaged his ex-teammate's ex-wife was
Auntie Larissa is
that was nasty.
That's super nasty.
She's a sugar mama now.
She's sugar something, but she's sugar, right? Sugar, like
she a sugar hoe. That's what she is.
Right. It is what it is. But I think that that will play out a lot more when the season is over. I think that's kind of like a 5-year storyline. Let me say that. You have to give these younger players 3 to 5 years to kind of become who they're going to become. Bronny is not a bad player. He's far from he's not a bad player. He needs some seasoning. He needs some growth and development, and that's what he's going to get in the G. That's what he's going to get on the Lakers. LeBron shouldn't have put that spotlight on him. You're already born with the spotlight being the junior of one of the greatest players of all time. LeBron should not have enhanced that spotlight by saying what he said, nor should he have enhanced the spotlight by basically rigging the draft. And when I say rigging the draft, I'm not saying he called
Rob.
What's his name? He didn't call. I was about to call his dad David Stern, Adam Silver, and said, you know what? We're gonna draft Bronny no matter what, and whoever drafts him, it will be a draft day trade. He didn't do that. Nah. He did rig the draft by basically having Clutch tell them, hey, certain teams, don't draft them. Don't draft them. Don't draft them.
No problem.
No problem. We won't. Now, if Golden State would have drafted him, I'm sure LeBron would have been like,
yo, me and Steph.
It's been real. Like, Golden State didn't draft him out of respect for LeBron. Cool. Right? LeBron shouldn't have put that battery. He should not have put that spotlight on Bronny, and he should not have enhanced it. And yes, he came to him as a man, as they say, and spoke to Stephen A in the face. But
you went to the wrong messenger, brother.
You went to the wrong messenger. You got to talk to yourself in the mirror about that one, player. You're a big part of the blame pie. When I say big part, I mean like you're like 80% of the shit.
Especially when it comes to the way media is today, a lot of it, a good portion of it is self-inflicted with Bron. Is like I get it. Like as much as I'm hard on KD in terms of like stuff that he does within the media and being passive aggressive, LeBron is just as worse. It's just like at this point, Bron.
No, that
What
nigga is worse. Not just that nigga is worse.
like Bron's got to a point where it's like you can no longer hide the rock after you throw it.
No, not at all. No,
It's
no,
it's,
no, no,
it's,
no.
it's, it's like listen, 22 years in, it's like at this point, man, like we're gonna see the rock that you threw. Like you can get away with it after 10 years, but nigga, you're in year 22, and your team is definitely a title contender, and you're in a position where like you could get your fifth championship ring. At this point, whether criticism or not, whatever that have you, you're going to be dissected no matter what you do, and you can't necessarily hide your rock that you threw at anybody and expect people to be like, "Oh, well, maybe he didn't throw it," and then
No,
someone
that
to call you out on it. Like
yeah.
you've been here long enough to people like, all right, LeBron, like yo, when you were younger, it's one thing. You old
Right.
head now. You should know better.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
You should know better.
I feel like one of these days we're gonna have a full out LeBron episode, and Matt is gonna be surprised at the criticism that we do give LeBron. I swear to God,
He's like, y'all criticize Bron? Oh, what? After all I said that to Chet, it's like, yo, Matt. Yeah. It's like, yo, like Matt. I can be as objective as I'm subjective about things that I like.
Right. Just because I champion LeBron doesn't mean I'm not gonna give him the same criticism.
Like, come on now.
Right. But final topic.
Yes, sir.
It's something that we speak about from episode 1 to even before we started doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do the players love the game?
Ooh.
This one has to be a yes or no.
Mm-hmm. Damn. I don't think they love the game enough. I do think they love the game. But I do think they don't love the game enough in terms of what the game has done for them. Like I said, I think in the first couple episodes, I think they love what the game can do for them personally, yes, but not enough to contribute to the game to push it forward. When you see guys prioritize max deals over, I want this, I want to win, I want to be put in situations where, they want to be successful. I think it basically cheapens, the validity and the integrity of the game that we love to watch. I do get the fact that these guys, get max contracts. Now they're getting towards, baseball territory in terms of these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you get paid all that, do you still have enough love to basically represent your team when they need you at the highest moment? Do you have enough of that love when your team, assembled as is, to lead them to a playoff game, or ascend past that round, or be legit contenders to become an NBA champion? Do you have that level of the game to basically play at least majority of between 77 games and 82 games in a season? Are you willing to love a game that enough to basically not take any shortcuts or games off for rest, thinking that, it's going to help me in the long run, when the statistics show that you resting has no correlation with you getting hurt? In fact, you getting hurt increases you getting, you sitting,
resting
increases your chances of getting hurt. So it's just like, do you love the game enough to give back to those fans that paid their hard-earned money to come see you? Those are things that, we talk about, and you see it through the All-Star game. You see it through contract negotiations, every summer. You see it through the Jimmy Butler situation. That situation with Miami, you could have just played out the season and just go wherever you wanted after. Honestly, if you I get it. Unless if there was a situation that you couldn't come back from between you and Pat Riley, okay, cool. If he did something completely off base, I would understand if you crashed out and be like, I want out. But all he said was, You didn't make the play. You didn't make it past the first round last year. You do not have the bandwidth to say, well, if I was playing, New York would be out. If I was playing, Boston would have been champions. He simply told you, be quiet. You lost. You weren't there.
Well, see, that's his problem. But that's the thing. Why doesn't he have the bandwidth to say it? Because this is the same man that's brought you to 2 finals within the past 5 years.
No. Conversely, you're right. But in the same token, it's like, if you're going to say something like that, you do have to show it up. But from Pat Rice's perspective, yeah, sure, Pat was kind of like off base in terms of how he said it. But there are ways of getting that communication out without you resorting to say, all right, because you said that, I don't want to be here anymore. That's because that cannot be the reason or the deal breaker of saying, yeah, I'm checked out.
I don't think that, but we know that wasn't it, but that was definitely
that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back, for sure. But
at the end of the day, you're a professional. If you signed on to a deal, which is why, regardless of like anything that LeBron has been throughout his career, the one thing I can respect is he never asked for a trade. He's always going to honor his contract no matter how bad the situation is. He's always honored every contract. He never asked out. He waited, all right, I'm going to be a free agent. I'm going to see what I'm going to see. You know, I could stay another year. Maybe I can go. Where are my options? If I do, boom, I'm out. You know? And I'm not saying like everybody to be like, you know, out of your contract. If it's, you know, completely you know, if you can't necessarily, you know, rectify that conflict you have, or you feel like you've outgrown the situation, by all means, like, all right, ask out. But don't make it to a point where like you're damaging team chemistry and you're basically confusing your teammates in terms of like, will he be locked in or will he not be locked in? Or Joel Embiid situation, or conversely, a different situation. You look at Joel Embiid. You shouldn't have been playing in the Olympics, knowing that you still have a bad knee. You just came out Bell's palsy, and now you come into the season like you're pulling a Shaq, where it's like, oh, I got hurt on company time, so I'm going to heal on company time. And then Paul George, you're just coming from the money and just being a shell of yourself. You're Scottie Pippen on the Rockets, and it's like you're just robbing money blind, because like, listen, these organizations, they don't just shell out money for you just to come in and just be a face and just, you know, do whatever you want. They pay this kind of dollar so that you can pull up a profit and help this team succeed, especially if they have a goal of a championship in mind.
I feel so bad for Tyrese Maxey.
Guys like Tyrese Maxey, like I feel extremely bad for a dude like that, because he loves the game. Like, you see guys who like would do anything to be on that floor to play the game of basketball. I'm sure, right? Like, I'm looking at this game right now with Giannis and the Bucks right now. Like, the Bucks were dead in the water early to start the season. Everybody was writing them off and saying like, "Yo, they ain't gonna make the playoffs this year." This and the third. I was like, "To hell with that! I don't care if I'm hurt. This and the third. I'm gonna help this team get to a point where we want to make the playoffs." Kyrie Irving tore his ACL trying to keep the Mavericks afloat without having AD. He basically pulled a Kobe in 2013. He's like, "I'm gonna play all these minutes to make sure that we are still in a good standing to make the playoffs." If that doesn't determine like how much he loves the game, like, I don't know what to tell you. But there are some players that, and you can see it when they go for just stats. Like, as talented as LaMelo Ball is, I don't think he loves the game. I just think that he's talented enough to play the game, but I don't think he loves the game enough to basically say like, I want to bring Charlotte out of like, I'm tired of losing. I have Brandon Miller on my team. I have Miles Bridges on my team. I have some good prospects on my team, but we're in the dumps. Like, it's a mindset. Like, a lot of these players don't have that mindset, which is why, like, when they bring up who's going to be the next face of the league, is like, yeah, it's tough, because it's like, do you think some of these guys love the game enough to basically take on that pressure? And this generation, I don't think the younger generation of players, with the exception of a few, don't want that pressure. Like, Victor Wembanyama wants that pressure.
Yeah. And he's not even asking for it. He's just like, yo, I know what it comes with.
I know what it comes with.
Of an entire country now. And then bringing that face, even with French, other previous French stars, like a Tony Parker and
Boris Diaw and those guys.
Boris Diaw and a Nicholas Batum. Like, you have You're the face of a country, and
I would
now
never
you have to be the face of a league.
I would never question the Europeans' love of the game because they play the game with purity and love. If there's ever a group in the NBA that I would never question their love of the game, is them Euros.
Right, and not even Joker, bro. Like, and people are like, oh, Joker don't love the game. No,
Joker loves the game. He don't like the bullshit.
The game. Yeah, he just wish he can just play back. He's a hooper. And see, this is where we get the game. This is where the criticism of Kevin Durant has to stop. Yeah, Kevin Durant, like the European players, love the game. They just don't love the politics of it. They just want to play the game and go about their business, right?
That's all.
And the problem with the NBA, once the NBA came out of the era where everybody was doing cocaine and all this other stuff, and that's when it became an issue where we need a face to keep people watching the game. We need a story. We need storylines to get people watching.
The Bird and Magic and Jordan, yeah.
Bird Magic era, Jordan era,
Kobe,
Kobe, Mac, the leaders of the new school, that era. Yeah. Into the Bron Wade era, Bron Wade Bosh era, right? Into the
Warriors,
the Warriors dynasty, and up until now, the new school of players, where it's like, all right, well, what's going on? The players just want to play, right? I never will say I will agree with you and not say that the players don't love the game, right? I don't want to say someone who's trained to play this game all their life and make it big, because there's sacrifices you have to make. Let's not get it twisted that these players have made sacrifices to play the game that they enjoy, that they love.
Yeah,
but they don't want to sacrifice everything that they've been doing, and I guess that's the difference between now and then.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan. Face of the league. Magic Johnson, face of the league at one point.
Larry Bird.
And I mentioned Larry Bird.
Dr.
And I mentioned
Kareem.
Right. And Kareem was one of the people on the Ant Edwards time. Don't make me the face of the league. I don't give a shit. Like
Kareem was definitely on that time.
He was on that type of time. And I think people need to also remember that. Like, yeah, some of your favorites did not want to be the face of the league. Even Bill Russell. Bill Russell did not want to be the face of the league. That was more of a Wilt thing.
Yeah, but Wilt did.
Thing. Yeah, Wilt was like, yeah, nah. It's me.
Bird didn't even care. Bird just wanted to kill.
Right.
Right. Bird just wanted to kill. Like, I think, because the thing about it is like, okay, like I said earlier, I don't think players, they do love the game, but there are different aspects of the game that they like that can benefit them, and there's others aspects of the game for players that they love, but they don't want to deal with the extraness of it in terms of like you said, the politics and all the media aspects of it. But unfortunately, it does go hand in hand with that, so it's somewhat non-negotiable at times. But how the storytelling of the game should be far better than it is right now. Obviously, when we get to that new media episode, we would definitely talk about that. But I just think that from what's expected of you, like on the surface, taking away the media side and what, promotion aside, what the franchise or the organizations are asking of you, if you can't meet that and you're just there to basically meet a number and just basically just get money out of it, that has to be checked, because there's someone hungry in the G League or someone that's hungry that's in the Euro League or leagues around the world that are itching for the NBA to be their dream. Like, they'll scratch and claw. That's where you found the John Starks of the world. That's where you found the Ben Wallaces of the world, the Anthony Masons of the world that had to scrap and claw through the CBA, the Continental Basketball Association, not the collective bargaining agreement. The other realms of the USBL,
the Pat
Bevs of the world. Like, they have to go through conventional methods in order to come play professional basketball. Matt Barnes was a conduit of that. Matt Barnes, was in and out the league for years before he found the niche with the Golden State Warriors, and then he ended up winning with the Warriors like 10 years later, despite the fact. So it's just like, basketball is a journey, and for those who really want to play the game at the highest level in the NBA, they're going to find a way to stay in the league doing their job the way they're supposed to. For whether you're the number one star on the team or you're the 15th guy on the bench, which is why at times it's like you see players like even Ben Simmons. You know, you got to question all this great talent. Do you truly love the game? And that's been something that's followed him since college. It's not about the you know, the extraness of the media, this and the third. Is like, yo, like, we see you have all this talent, and we also see the fact that at times you do not care about the game.
Right.
It's a bad look on guys that do have a lot of love for the game, and you have to find better ways of, you know, showing that. Like, we're not telling you like, oh, you got to be, you know, political and, you know, hug babies and, you know, and
right. I'm not saying wear the NBA flag on your back. What we're saying is you have to
show up and do your job. Show up and do your job. Don't just trot and be like, oh, I'm just gonna get this because I know when I get that number, I'm gonna get paid for it anyway. Because we know in an NBA, like if you're in the league, you're gonna get your guaranteed money. Don't worry about the money because the money's gonna come. Like the job of what the coaching staff and the organization is asking of you is, can you play a role in terms of helping this team either turn it around as a franchise or put us over the hump and become contenders to win a championship? Like, those are questions that they should be asking rather than the other questions that you see happening. Like, in terms of basketball, you know, these are questions that players have to ask themselves. And I'm sure, but from other players, you see certain people love the game. That's why we talk about Cooper Flagg. He loves the game.
He loves the game.
You see JuJu, she loves the game. And it's also bad when you see your female counterparts in the W. They don't have the same promotion and attaché and the privileges the NBA do.
Love the game, bro.
And they love the game. Like
I can never say a woman player. I'll never say none of those women. I'll never say that they don't love the game.
Like, these girls, they're willing to die on the court the way they play. You seen the finals between the Lynx and the Liberty.
If these women could play pregnant, I mean belly out pregnant, they would. They would.
Like that's how much the game means to them.
Possible for them to do it.
I mean, Scott Diggins technically did it for a little bit before she started showing, but at the same time, it's like, yo, like, these guys are willing to do a lot to become successful in this game. Mm-hmm. By the way, fuck Sheldon Williams what he did to Candace Parker. But
man.
I'll hate him forever. That's a person I hate.
I hate him and
my Moore's husband.
My Moore's husband. But to put a bow on it.
Yeah.
We what we want to see, right? Moving forward, and it just in general.
Care about your profession, baby. That's all we want.
Care about your profession, right? And we're not saying that you don't love the game, because in order for you to get to the NBA, you would have to love the NBA, right? But you have to love basketball in some shape or form. I hate hearing that. Oh yeah, I didn't watch basketball growing up. What the fuck? How you not watch it?
So why you here?
why you here? Because I'm a big proprietor of this in anything that you do. You have to know your past before you can be productive in the present.
There you go.
You have to, because you not knowing your past helps you repeat past mistakes that got other people out. Versus now you know your past, you're like, I know what not to do. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to do to be different, to show the world that I'm here. And that's it. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah, that's all. That's why we need vets, man. We need more vets on at the end of that bench. Like, I don't care what you do with whatever talent that you might have. Even if the vet may not play, you need a vet that's been in the game 10+ years on that side of the bench. Like, to
as a player,
help. Not a coach.
Player.
Yeah. Like this is why Udonis hasn't played 30 years. I'm joking.
Right, the man played 55 years, man.
Like 55 years on that Heat bench, but what he did was invaluable. I don't think those Heat teams get to the level of those last two finals, that the last two finals appearances without Udonis Haslem being on the end of the bench.
The Heat culture doesn't stay intact without Udonis Haslem.
It don't.
Keeping the players, the newer generation of players, the Jimmy Butlers, the Tyler Heroes, the Bam Adebayos, everybody from when he got drafted to after Wade and most of the old guard left. That culture doesn't stay without people like Udonis Haslem now teaching the younger generation, the Bam Adebayos, why said culture, how to be a pro is so important. The NBA can do all of that little stupid ass classes that they do as a rookie. Doing that rookie class doesn't mean shit unless you have players, people consistently around you that's going to teach you to do the right thing. And that goes into loving the game, because in order to love the game, you need to know your past before you can be productive in the present. That's really it.
Amen.
But shout out to you, shout out to myself, shout out to the Your Sports Show Network. Baseball season is coming, so be prepared for the dog days to come back. Yeah, that is Shop Biz Ronnie's second love, but
basketball my first one.
Basketball is first, but shouts to again Backstage Brawl on every week consistently. So shouts to you for
we wasn't on this week. You know, people was busy, but we'll be back next week. I wrote the next two episodes as we get to WrestleMania season. So be in lock for that.
Yeah,
it's a lot going on in wrestling, so we'll definitely tap on that soon.
Definitely. Again, shouts to the Your Sports Show Network. Everybody here on the Your Sports Show Network got a lot of big things coming up. Can't wait for everybody to experience it. And yeah, that is it. That is it. So this wraps up episode 6. Anything Run the Break podcast related, look us up. Run the Break Pod, Run the Break Podcast. I just realized that at the bottom of this, for the longest time, it has said Run the Break Procast. Right now,
the graphic. Yeah,
the graphic, yes, that is a.
You wouldn't tell with the graphic though.
You wouldn't tell with it, but I'm as a person who fucking created the logo, and I see, I'm like, holy shit, it says that. But I pointed that out. Mind your business on that. That might just stay as a running joke on here. But again, hashtag Run the Break Pod on anything Run the Break Podcast related. Follow our YouTube. It is up and running. Nobody can say it isn't. Look for us on Apple Podcasts, Run the Break Podcast, under the Your Sports Show Network banner, under its own, RSS feed. You'll find it.
Yeah, so we got some heat coming, guys. Man, we got some heat. Some discussions coming up, especially with that new media episode. Because I would like to.
Yeah, I definitely want guests on that one for sure too. We'll definitely have guests on that one. But for episode 6 of Run the Break Podcast, that is the final boss,
Bronny, baby.
And it is your boy, Big Baby, a.k.a. the Wise Brother, a.k.a. A.R. Jones, all the AKAs. And keep running the break. Love the fucking game, y'all. Love the game, man. Not what it could do for you.
We'll
definitely love you back.